After watching thousands of hours of the fastest athletes, there are a couple interesting data points that I think are worth knowing when it comes to your own speed training or speed development to make it so you're able to get the most out of your training. We're going to go ahead and hop right into it here. The first thing being a comparison between taller sprinters and shorter sprinters, or taller athletes and shorter athletes, and just understanding that when you are a taller athlete, you're going to obviously have longer strides. We have Usain Bolt here, he's 6'5", and we're going to be comparing him to Tyson Gay, who's 5'10". Now, what is a big thing when it comes to being a taller athlete is you're going to naturally obviously have longer strides. And so what you really want to focus on is quick foot contact time. So what made Usain Bolt really unique is he had a 0.08 foot contact time, and then taller athletes typically have 0.35 to 0.36 turnover time, which is essentially the amount of time your foot comes off the ground. So looking at like his left foot here, from when that left foot comes off the ground to when it comes back down on the ground, that would be about 0.35 to 0.36 seconds. And that made it so he was able to go the 100-meter in about 41 steps, which is very unique. Where we have Tyson Gay, who did it in like 45 steps, which is still really good for being 5'10". So what short athletes are able to do, or shorter athletes, in order to still be fast, is cover a lot of distance per step. Again, 45 is really good for being 5'10". So in order for him to do that, he has to actually spend more time with the foot on the ground. So he was closer to zero point 0.1, 0.11 with his foot contact time. And then he was spending closer to 0.30 turnover time, which is the time that his feet are spent off the ground. This isn't necessarily what everybody has to be doing in order to be successful. Somebody like Noah Lyles, he has a little bit quicker for contact time, 0.08. He's also 5'10", but he's closer to like 0.33 with the time spent off the ground. So again, what makes Usain Bolt or taller athletes very unique is how they are getting longer strides. Make it so you have to really focus on developing your acceleration and a quick foot contact time. Where if you are a shorter athlete, what you want to do is really put a big focus on understanding how to get more distance per step. Just to go a little bit more into how you actually accomplish covering more distance per step, it a lot of times has to do with the height of the feet. So as your feet come off the ground, you really want to make sure you're getting plenty of height on the backside as well as on the front side. I think an important part of that as well is getting your toes to point upwards as you're coming through. So one of the things we want to go into is some of the data, some of the numbers, but we also want to go into how are these people actually achieving these great feats. And so with Tyson Gay and also obviously Usain Bolt, both of them, you could see they're doing a great job getting their toes up. Really, all of these guys, these are Olympic level sprinters, the fastest people in the world. They do a great job of getting their toes up into the air. And then they also get plenty of height with their feet coming back behind. I see a lot of people who are struggling with their speed just don't get very much foot height on the backside as well as on the front side. So before we go too much into the leg cycle, I want to talk real quick about the acceleration in comparison to top speed. And what we found is that when you look at people that are accelerating, what they're able to do is first, they are very quick to get their feet down on the ground. So when you're at your top speed, again, we talked about, as Usain Bolt, he's typically spending about 0.35 seconds with his feet off the ground, where when you're first accelerating, like your first step wants to be down on the ground from when it comes off the blocks, or if you're in a 3-point stance or a 2-point stance, whatever, you want to get that first step down in about 0.2 to 0.25 seconds. So you have to be very quick in getting your feet down. And within the first 4 to 5 steps, all of them are very, very quick with how much time they're spending with the feet off the ground. So in order to do that, you could see how he's keeping his feet very low to the ground. He's still emphasizing getting his toes up as he's coming forward, but he's still keeping his feet pretty low on each one of the steps in comparison to what we're seeing here with everybody at the top speed. So when you're going into your acceleration, it's important to understand that you want to be able to be very quick with your feet coming off the ground, coming back on the ground, in comparison to when you get your top speed. You want to be getting more height. Another important concept to understand is really keeping your shoulders in front of your foot. So when you're landing here, you could see during acceleration, you're going to be landing with your shoulders in front of your toes or in front of your feet, where when you get to your top speed, Now we want to be landing with the shoulders kind of behind the foot. So, just a couple key differentiations here that I think, again, will help you in understanding how to properly develop your speed. So, if you're watching yourself run, you could really easily identify some important parts of being able to run faster. Now, we're going to go into the leg cycle. I think it's really important to understand here that as your leg is cycling through, we want to make sure that we're just not crossing over a lot with our feet, which means that as the leg is coming down, we're doing a great job of landing with the foot basically right underneath the hip. So the better we could do of being able to be very straight there, then the faster you're going to be able to go. We see a lot of guys that are crossing over with each one of those steps. And as your foot comes off the ground, we also want to make sure that we're pushing straight back with the toe. We can see here how we're getting that foot to go all the way back to make it so then you are propelling yourself forward on each one of the steps. Then to have a great foot contact time, what you want to be able to do is land on the front inside part of the foot. So we'll see a lot of people that will be landing a lot more on the outside part of the feet, which will usually make it so then you'll spend more time on the ground and also just landing a little bit further back. Then when you push off, just try to push straight vertical at top speed. As you're starting, you want to keep your feet a little bit closer to the ground, so you don't want to be pushing as vertical like we went over. But when you get to your top speed, you definitely want to be pushing yourself all the way up or pushing that foot up to get plenty of foot height. And then the last thing is just going to be having a lot of rhythm within the arm swing. So I like watching Usain Bolt and how he's going kind of side to side with his shoulders. I think that helps him being able to create good rhythm within the arms, within the legs, to make it so then you're able to generate the most amount of force into the ground. I think an important part of being able to understand the foot strike or how to generate more force into the ground at foot strike is to get better control of the arm swing. And so in order to do that, I think a great thing to be able to work on is going to be getting a bit of a side to side motion within the shoulders to make it so then as you're striking the ground, you can generate a good amount of action out of the arm as well. So you can see with him, he's really pulling back with that right shoulder, right arm as that left foot striking the ground to make it so then he's able to generate more force, creates that rebound, and then comes right back through. I think it's, again, a great thing to be able to see and very helpful to be able to see when it comes to understanding how the fastest athletes run and how to be able to make it so you're able to do the same. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the information, click that thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, you can leave those down below. We always do breakdowns just like this. And really, this is the idea for our speed training is how can we help you understand how to run like the fastest people in the world. When training athletes, we're not trying to make it so you do things that are totally unique and totally new. There's obviously different styles between different types of athletes and different heights and things like that. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we see over and over and over again, regardless of the height, regardless of the type of athlete, that makes it so we can create a certain degree of understanding that this is what you want to be able to get to, whether you're a shorter athlete, taller athlete, longer legs, play football, track and field, whatever the case may be. There are certain things that we want to be able to get to, maybe longer foot contact time, shorter foot contact time, better turnover time, higher foot height, better acceleration mechanics. We want to be able to identify those things, and that's what we do within our program to make it so you could help improve your sprinting. So again, if you like the information, click that thumbs up, check out the description to find out more about what we do, and we'll talk to you soon.